not moving. I know that hand like the back of my own paw. No! Ruby screams. Uncle Ivan! I check the crowd. No sign of Julia or George. Nothing. No Maya either. Or keepers. And I recognize just a few employees. Several rescue workers. And 2 or 3 dazed-looking visitors. Is he alive? A firefighter asks. Hand, whatever it's called, isn't moving, says another. Weaving my way through the tangle of the legs, I climb up on the rubble pile, sniff a bit, bark my loudest. Yes, he's alive. Get your rears down here. Just like the overachieving rescue dogs on the Man's Best Friend show, I listen for the sound of Ivan, a grunt, a cry for help, nothing. But he still smells alive. At least, I think he does, and that's good enough for me. Xena. Another dog races over. Tough-looking German shepherd wearing impressive glow-in-the-dark vest and some booty things to protect her feet from the rubble, and I hold my ground. This is my friend we're talking about. I lick Ivan's hand. His fingers twitch. Oh, well, that takes us both of us, barking like maniacs. More people gather. I see Maya next to Ruby, which makes me feel better. Name's Xena, says the shepherd. Bob. I nudge Ivan's fingers with my nose. Nothing. And this is Ivan. He's my best bud. Sorry to hear, she replies. I don't like the sound of her voice. With great care and far too slowly, for my taste, rescue workers begin removing the chunks of the wreckage and tossing them to one side. Xena and me, we mostly stay out of the way, but every so often I lick Ivan's hand, just so he knows that I'm here and that I got him covered. I glance over at Maya and Ruby. Maya is wiping tears from her eyes while she strokes Ruby's ears. Ruby is giving Maya a comforting trunk hug. Good old Ruby. Wise beyond her years, that gal. I check the crowd again. Still no sign of Julia or George. And that's when the sickening thought hits me like a bite in the belly. What if Ivan isn't the only one under this rubble? Dragon. More police cars, ambulances arrive at the park. A handful of keepers stream in too, looking frantic, confused. The weirdest thing of all? Wandering through all the destruction and random park residents, the animals and birds and reptiles. Residents who definitely do not belong to the gorilla world. A police officer is chasing an armadillo. A great blue heron watches the mayhem from her position on top of a giraffe statue. The wallaby pokes his nose around a bush in his saucer eyes catching the fire engine lights. Nets! Someone calls. We need more nets! An older gentleman holding a blue umbrella lets out a blood-curdling scream. Dragon! He cries. I swear, I just saw a baby dragon. Sir, said the keeper named Malik. No worries. That's actually a Gila monster, and his name is Gilligan. The paramedic raises his hand. They have, venom, don't they? Well, they say a healthy adult won't die from it, Malik shrugs. Although, they'll be in some serious pain. Wonderful, says the paramedic. I glance over my shoulder to see Sarah running toward Maya. I can't hear her words, but I can definitely see the worry in her eyes. Xena's ears tip up. They're getting the cutters and the jaws of life. Jaws? I repeat. I don't like the sound of that. It spreads metal. They're probably getting close. Come on. We need to get out of the way. I ain't going anywhere. I hear ya, she says, and I can tell from the weary sound of her voice that she's had this conversation before. But the best thing for Ivan right now is to let the human beings do their thing. I think about it. Figure, she's right. I give the fingers one last lick. They don't move. Nothing. Nada. Oh, we picked to the bottom of the debris pile. Hang in there, Ivan, I call. We love you, buddy. I know it's crazy, but listen, anyways, and I hope for a sign that he's still with us. Bugging, I run to Kiani. Don't worry, I tell her. He's gonna make it. I can tell she doesn't believe me. From there, I head over to Maya and Sarah and Ruby. Maya has a radio handset in one hand. for some reason, a young squirmy meerkat in the other. Sarah kneels down and hugs me tighter than any sweater she's ever knit. Bob, she cries, what happened to your nose? And look at your paw. Some dogs don't like to be hugged that way. I'm one of them. But Sarah needs to do it. I can tell somehow, so I let her. Isn't really that bad. Loose. A new police officer joins us. Officer Williams, she says, nods to Maya. You're at the park, right? Yes, I'm Maya. This, Officer Williams pauses. We need to get this under control ASAP. Winds are going to pick up, and we haven't even hit the eye of the storm. The storm surge could be an issue. This one is moving slow. We've got a skeleton staff here, says Maya, and the meerkat jumps to eating her earring. Early reports say that maybe a third of the habitats are damaged or destroyed. She shakes her head and says, well, we've got some injuries too and possible fatalities. Human? I don't think so. Anything loose could be, maybe a problem? Maya presses her lips together. Yep. Such as, well, a couple Florida panthers, gray wolves, python maybe, possibly an alligator or two, and American alligators, not Chinese. I don't care if they're from Canada. If they eat people, we're in trouble. Well, they don't typically eat people. Typically? Officer William repeats. Well, that's reassuring. Sarah loosens her grip on me ever so slightly. Maya, she asks, a voice trembling, have you heard anything on the radio from George and Julia? I keep calling, but the cell towers are down. Nothing yet, Maya says, but I'm sure they're fine. Nearest shelter's over the Lincoln Elementary, says Officer Williams. You should check there. Sarah frowns. They were probably right here before the tornado hit. We're searching the park, ma'am, says the officer. We'll find them if they're here. Everyone clear out, a firefighter yells with a megaphone and yells from a spot near Ivan. Could be danger of more collapse. We're working on the last metal beam. I look to see if Ivan's fingers are moving. Oh, nothing. Come on, hold on, Ivan, I yell. Nothing. Sometimes nothing is worse than the worst sound in the whole world. Ruby lets out a little elephant cry, and then I realize maybe that's the worst sound in the whole world. CPR. The winds die down to a whisper, as if a world's holding its breath, along with the rest of us. Do you ever have any vets standing by? Asked Officer Williams, as the two ambulances screeched to a halt nearby. Yes, Maya nods. Not sure when they'll get here, though. Officer Williams waves down an ambulance crew member. You've ever done CPR on a gorilla? Primate's a primate, I guess, he says, but he's not looking too sure. What's going on? We're waiting on equipment, but we're stretched pretty thin. Lots of structural damage on the north side of the town, says Officer Williams. They're going to get a chain on that last beam and try to pull it free from all the from free with one of the cars. Somebody under there? Yeah, gorilla, we think. Not sure what else, or who else. I look at the cement, all the wood and all the metal. Nobody could survive that. Not even a silverback gorilla with the strength of 8 men. And yet, Ivan's fingers moved. And then they didn't. Several minutes pass. The rain slows a bit, along with the wind. The crowd watches as 3 firefighters attach a long chain to a metal beam next to Ivan. Then they hook it to a tow bar on the rear of the police car. Back up, folks, calls the megaphone guy. Farther! The chain clanks. The cars growl. The wheels squeal, grinding, groaning, progress. Ooh, just a little bit. Then big chunk of metal has definitely moved. A whisker or two. More grinding. More wheels digging holes in the ground. Mud flies in the thick of brown rain. A lurch, a snap, clanks, and rumbles as the big beam jerks free. The rescue workers move in, digging with their bare hands. Cement, dust, and metal, and bits and pieces of Gorilla World are everywhere. But where's Ivan? No movement, nothing. But after a few minutes, one thing is clear. A gorilla-shaped mound has appeared, covered by dust, dirt, and debris, splattered with rain. He just lies there. I've lost a lot in my life. I've lost my whole family. I lost Stella. But Ivan? No, it can't happen. Not Ivan. A miracle. The mound sits up. Gorilla ghost. Ivan emerges from a cloud of dust like a jumbo-sized ghost. He blinks several times, coughs, shakes, stretches a little. He's holding a banana, which he proceeds to eat. And everyone, and I do mean everyone, cheers.